I just wanted to begin by warning you guys that this video is going to talk about some very, very heavy stuff, especially in regards to sexual abuse and power imbalances and horrific things like that. So if you think that might be harmful for you to listen to, I would urge you to stop watching and just continue to do what you have to take care of yourself. Several faculty members of conventions, especially Break the Floor conventions, have been accused of absolutely horrific behaviour towards children. Break the Floor is a leading dance convention, and so there are still studio owners who are taking their kids there even after all these allegations have started to circulate. Lee Gums was sharing a bunch of anonymous accusations against very high-profile, wealthy individuals in the dance industry. And luckily, I managed to record these claims before his account was removed from Instagram. So if this video also disappears, you'll know why. These allegations are not just going to go away. The number of allegations is astounding. So many people have had things to say about these conventions, particular faculty members, and the wider dance industry. Even if these claims were to be false, I believe that any case surrounding the well-being of children needs to be investigated for their safety both now and in the future. For legal reasons, I'm not going to say their names, but they've all been accused of misconduct in the industry. These two studio owners are very well known in the dance industry. Dance Moms Miami was held at their studio. These two would weigh each dancer in front of everyone and say how much weight they thought they needed to lose. They would joke about dividing the dancers into spaghetti versus meatballs, which is just a horrible illustration designed to shame dancers into losing weight. Not only this, but their manager continuously talked about how a 16-year-old's butt and chest looked in a swimsuit. They said they were going to tell all the boys to talk to her. There were also claims of sexual abuse, mental abuse, vaping, smoking, and drinking around students. One individual claimed that 2 of their students were being pushed into an eating disorder in order for them to perform at the dance awards. Then there was this person who allegedly kept a journal of who was best in bed. He asked students to get him marijuana. Apparently he hits on underage girls, sending dirty and unsolicited messages. He seems to always know when girls he likes have turned 18, approaching them in uncomfortable ways after their birthday. He allegedly had a relationship with an underage BTF national winner while he was a faculty member. Not only this, but he apparently sleeps with underage girls. There are 16-year-olds who have bragged about sleeping with him because he looks young and attractive. Someone 10 years his junior apparently was invited to his apartment, where he served them vodka, slept with them, and then cut off contact without an explanation. Apparently, this particular teacher made a girl physically ill from stress and from the horrible things that she would say to make the kids fear her. Apparently, it is well known that she is a traumatizing teacher. Then there's this person who has had so many allegations against them. Apparently, he abused 5 girls while they were underage. He has allegedly been inappropriate with girls at Pace University. A former student accused him of verbal abuse and dating a girl who was a student at the time. Apparently, around 15 students have reported him to administrators, who still did nothing, and he is still on the faculty. People have claimed that he verbally abused many girls, and would become uncomfortably infatuated with a specific dancer. One dancer's teammates would constantly joke that they were only getting attention in his class because they were his type. Apparently, when he would teach at conventions, he would sometimes say, "I need the hot girls in the front," pulling people to the front, including a 15-year-old. It is said that he talked to a 16-year-old about intimate aspects of their relationship with their duo partner. It is apparently well known that he would only cast dancers that he deemed as hot to be in his pieces. A 15-year-old has said that they went to his loft with a bunch of other underage people. He apparently gave them alcohol and drugs. It is said that he repeatedly made contact with an underage dancer for years. He would tell her to meet him in parts of the hotel. But when she brought her friends with her, he'd pretend to not know her. He would then do things to try and get her alone with him. It is said that he got fixated on a 14-year-old, casting her as a soloist, talking about how she was hot and how he thought her legs were amazing. He would ask where he could buy a pair of those legs in front of a room filled with staff and students. And worse still, someone has said that he manipulated a high schooler, taking her virginity and ditching her, causing a deep depression. Then there is his sister, who is apparently verbally abusive, degrading, and rude to dancers she is paid to teach. She apparently pushes eating disorders, telling kids what to eat and what not to eat to be good dancers. She allegedly belittles petite students in front of the whole class, and makes her underage students get alcohol for her so that she can get through judging. Then there's the owner of Jump. Apparently the owner of Jump was wildly inappropriate with the winner of the Teen Vision in 2007. Each year he would apparently go after different students. This person has been called out by quite a few people for following 15 and 16-year-olds on Instagram, liking posts from a year ago and liking pictures of them in bikinis. Apparently he would add his students on Snapchat, trying to get them to hang out with him and send him pictures. One 16-year-old says that they were asked for their Snapchat and that he kept asking favors of them and saying that he would make them famous. He apparently asked her to pick him up at the airport and hang out with him. This particular person has two friends who also say they've had bad experiences with him. Allegedly, he was texting someone who was of age naked pictures, telling her to come over and have a threesome with him and his girlfriend, saying that he had a lot of connections and could get her lots of jobs. This person apparently abused underage girls and gave them STDs, yet no one did anything about it. He was apparently fired from a studio because he had relationships with underage girls. This was before he started his own dance convention. It is said that he invited a teen student in the Prodigy program to the movies. He also asked her to stay in his hotel room and would become infatuated with blondes. Allegedly, he asked another girl to stay in his hotel room and not to tell her mum. He apparently started sending her very forward messages on the day of her 18th birthday. Several students have said that they've been asked to stay in his hotel room, and that he sent disgusting and creepy messages. This is the big person in charge of a lot of these workshops. This man officially stepped down from being Break the Floor's CEO when allegations began to spread back in October. He claims that the timing of his departure with the allegations are purely coincidental. Not only does he allegedly hire a lot of abusers and then let them get away with it, but he apparently invited a 13-year-old to a party in his room, so some people have claimed that he is involved in what he perpetuates. And it's said that he will pay off people in order to stay quiet about this. This person apparently used to use a lot of sexual references around teenagers, but excused it, saying that they were almost adults. A former student says that they were sent nude photos by this man. He admitted that he sent photos back when he was only 17 years old, and by 18 he was having a consensual sexual relationship with the 34-year-old. He says that looking back, he felt groomed. Another student claims that this man tried to shove his hand through a hole in his pants. And one of his ex-boyfriends, who was a dance assistant at Break the Floor, says this man used to grope him in public without consent, before and during their relationship. He also alleges that he made derogatory and racist remarks about him in front of others. One student has alleged that they were brought into a room with this man and ended up roofied and raped at the age of 15. This woman apparently spent inappropriate time with an underage male teen in the 90s. She was a teacher at a convention and is still actively teaching. Another student alleges that she was told in high school that she needed to drop 15 pounds before moving to LA. It is said that this man tried to have sex with a man who had just turned 18 in order to help him figure out his sexuality. 6 students have made public allegations against this particular choreographer, one of whom alleges that he groomed him, made sexual advances, and gave him drugs such as ecstasy and crystal meth. Apparently, this particular person would tell his students to grind on the floor like you're trying to give it a boner, and to make sexual eye contact with the male judges to earn extra points. He apparently also had lots of complaints against him because he made uncomfortable remarks about students' bodies. It's alarming that Eliana has spent so much time with this particular choreographer because he has allegedly had a sexual relationship with a 14-year-old male dancer. It is said that this man tried to solicit nudes from a 14-year-old, and he still teaches at Intrigue Dance Convention to this day. This particular man works at Break the Floor, and according to people in the dance industry, he had a relationship with a 16-year-old when he was 23. This man allegedly forced oral sex on an individual. His tour managing ex-girlfriend apparently made them work from 5 a.m. to midnight every weekend without breaks, and they were told that if they took a break, they would be fired. It is said that he would insist students to drink Jack Daniels with them, laughing about all the money he made. This revolting behaviour is not limited to convention faculty either. According to people in the industry, some competitions outside the convention circuit have their owners tell their employees that they should sleep with studio teachers in order to get them to return to their competitions. It has been alleged that a male teacher was messaging a female minor and it started becoming inappropriate. When this was discovered by another adult, he was removed from teaching the teen company, but he is still on their staff teaching and judging other kids. According to an ex-employee, this competition would fire employees without any official meeting or recognition of letting them go. They would apparently change the scores and told them to give specific awards to studios who brought the most money. It has been noted that a lot of the pro revelers are white blondes and brunettes, and when a kid didn't want to be a pro reveler, they were treated terribly. An employee who worked the photo booth at this convention had to work an 18-hour day with barely any breaks. They say they were treated like scum, and according to people in the dance industry, they were given alcohol from faculty members. It is said that a high school senior was asked to buy the faculty a few eighths of weed back in 2010. This was at a time where you got arrested for as little as a gram of it in Florida, and the student was a black boy who was especially at risk of severe punishment if caught. It is said that when students wanted to be favoured by this faculty, they were pressured to give them drugs and oral sex. It has been said that there's an instructor who has been there for around 15 years and has traumatized a student who was 10 years younger than them. There was a teen best dancer from their convention that apparently went back to her room very late at night, looking dishevelled. The mother of this kid said that she needed to be careful because people may think this is the only reason why she won. The teacher who did this to her was at least over 25 years old. One particular individual who was barely over age, and not at a drinking age, says that they went to a teacher's after party. A friend of one of the owners danced with them and bought them drinks, even when they kept insisting that they were underage and saying that they didn't want any more. This individual was then invited out to a bar. Apparently a faculty member sent a 16-year-old nudes on multiple occasions and asked them to send some back. It is said that a lot of assistants were sexually harassed, even those who were over 18. They apparently blackballed anyone who didn't comply, using their influence in the industry as leverage. One individual recounts how they were groomed by a teacher and introduced to different drugs. A former teacher at the convention was basically told that if they slipped up with a student, they weren't going to face any consequences because the boss would be able to protect them. A former employee alleges that they had to work 16 to 19-hour days for very little pay. The staff would apparently sleep under the desks. The faculty and studio teachers allegedly had frequent sexual relations, setting the example that this is okay behaviour in the industry. One teacher apparently told students not to drink anything because eating and drinking is bad and that they need to limit it to fit the dancer role. It is said that she would yell at students to be better. It is believed that a lot of the current faculty had sexual experiences with the older faculty when they were teenagers. At this point, the behaviour is a cycle and a culture. It is insane that this many people have come forward and barely any action has taken place. Any business or industry that deals with children must have better safeguards in place. Most professionals are protected by a union or dance alliance, but children at conventions have no protection whatsoever. More discussion needs to happen about appropriate boundaries in this industry. If you know anyone who's attending these conventions, speak to them and make sure that they're okay. As of right now, we really need to know what exactly is going on, and the only way we can possibly hope to achieve this is with an independent, unbiased investigation. Because frankly, there is a lot at stake here.